Welcome to the Family Photography Marketing Podcast, where we dive into the world of marketing and help you take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Fiona, a marketing expert with 10 years of experience in the family photography industry, and in each episode of this podcast, I'll be sharing my insights and strategies for successful marketing to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of digital and traditional marketing techniques. So whether you're just starting out or looking to fine-tune your marketing approach, this podcast has something for you. So join me and let's get started. Hello everyone. Today we are going to be making a spring marketing plan because I keep getting overwhelming feedback that the reason people are not marketing their family photography sessions or business as a whole is because they do not know what they're trying to say or they feel overwhelmed. So the very first step in this is to come up with a simple idea of what you're trying to book. And here's where the complication comes in. A lot of people will think, okay, it's spring, what do I want to book? And they'll make a list of like 5 things. And many of those things are different. So you have like studio, mommy and me, wildflower sessions, newborn sessions. All of those things require slightly different talking points, pain point addressing, even marketing strategies. So right off the bat, you've laid out quite a bit of work for yourself. So I want you to, in this exercise, just focus on one type of session that you want to market. So for me, I'll use an example of near my house, there's these flowers that pop up and they're pretty short-lived, but I love to do sessions there. So let's say I'm going to name those the yellow flower sessions. That's what I'll call them on my paper. So I'll write those down. And then because I am a businesswoman and I'm here to do business, I want to figure out how many of those I want to sell and for what price point. So I have a goal that I'm working towards. And right here in the initial part of this plan, a few of you are going to freak out and exit stage left. And I just want to keep you here. Like, it is okay to, first of all, it's okay if you don't meet that goal. Like if you set this goal and you don't meet it, that is perfectly fine. And you don't need to have any judgment for yourself around that. It is just data. So go ahead and tie it to an income goal. The reason we want to do that is because, as you guys know from previous episodes, the emotion that I run my business off of is resentment. And if you put a ton of time into marketing for these and they're too low priced for the amount of effort that you'll put in, you'll feel resentful. Just right off the bat, we know that about the human mind. Unless you're like in year 1 and you need the content more than anything. But that's also can be kind of a tricky mindset, because we don't need content. We don't need to produce free content forever. At some point, we need to actually be selling these session spots. So that's the very first step. So once you have it written out, so yellow flower sessions, I know from my own family schedule and the schedule of when these flowers are available, I can start creating a list of my availability, time slots, dates, prices. So right there, already from 2 steps of work, I have a tangible item that I'm trying to sell. And again, I understand your discomfort with the word sell, but I'm just going to use sell or booking and go ahead and hop over that discomfort because I want you all to find the financial success out of your business as much as I want you to find the creative fulfillment. So many people, once they do this, once they create this, whatever it is, the very first place they go is their stories. And they do a little story about it and they post it. And then they're like, okay, I did it. I'm done. And I actually don't want you to go to your stories first. What I want you to do, and for all of my marketing students, I always recommend that they go on like Canva or Creative Market and buy just a simple marketing template. They're usually not very much money and they just come with a bunch of different texts and elements in there that are all very cohesive. so that you're not reinventing the wheel every time you go to talk about something. So that would actually be my first stop, is just creating a few marketing items for this work that you want to sell that you can put in multiple places. So don't overthink it. That's going to be the hardest part. You're going to create something and then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's not good. I have to go back and redo it. You'll stay here in this tinker zone because your brain knows it's very, very safe there. So the trick is to create the thing, move on, and be done with it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to create a blog post or a page on your website that has to do with these sessions. So if you have spring, if you have a page that goes over all of your spring offerings, it would go there, or it could be a blog post just about these sessions. So mine could be upcoming yellow flower sessions, for example. It'd be a blog post. And then I would create that blog post first, because what I want to do is this is the place that I want to send everybody. I want to send everybody to this very specific page that has the styling information, the dates, and for in my case, the availability to book right online. Because when you don't have that created, what happens is you may make a cute little story about these sessions and post it, and then you'll have it, I see this so many times, it'll go to a Calendly link that has no information and no more trust building data about what these sessions are beyond the one image that you shared. And then people have no way to learn more about it without reaching out to you or trying to scrounge that information up. So I would much rather have you send them to a blog post or a website page that is specifically dedicated to these sessions so they can hang out there for a little bit and learn without talking to you, without messaging you, and also without just immediately choosing a time, because online booking is very valuable, but not when it's not at the end of a trust building pathway. So we want to create that trust building pathway for them. And by doing that, you have all the tools already. Like you should, if you don't have a website, get a website immediately. You know that the website, I actually am doing a course on how to create a converting website through another education company. And I think it's coming out in April or early May, I can't remember. And so I made this chart, this marketing chart, and the website is the center of it. And it was really helpful for me to break down all the different places that you can talk about what you have available or your work, and how you want it all to lead back to your website. But what happens is so often we start creating the content there's nothing on the website. So first make the content in Canva or wherever it is that you make a graphic. You don't even have to make a graphic. It can just be the images and text. But again, it's nice to have that graphic, at least one graphic that you can share on your Facebook or your Instagram or put on Pinterest or whatever, just so you have it done. You check it off the list, it's there. You won't spin around in indecision with the graphics for this, because that is another place that I see people get stuck. So just as an example, from that, once you have somewhere to send people, basically a mini storefront for these yellow wildflower sessions, then you can send people to that page via your email list. You can reach out to past clients. You can, if you've been working on your overall Google SEO or search SEO, then you can have a link to it right on your homepage. So when someone comes to your website organically, they see it. That's the other huge missing piece that I see, is people will do their website and it looks really pretty, but there's nowhere for me to find these specialty or current offerings. It's just generic family newborn pages, which if you don't have seasonal offerings, that's fine. But if you do, they're often really hidden. And the only way I'm finding them is through stories, which of course disappear. So it's a high risk place to keep all your content. Going up, you could create an in-person connection around those. So you could collaborate with someone. And then again, where are you sending them? to the extremely helpful dedicated page. And you could create an ad, which I'm talking more and more about. I really think that basically what's changed with Facebook ads is AI. And I know I've talked about this in the past, but you no longer need to be a PhD level Facebook analyst to be able to create an ad. All you need to do is have really, really clear copy and a very on-brand image, and AI will find the people for you. So again, here's another issue. If I'm trying, and I see this all the time because I look at ads as I get them, and it'll be like spring minis. And then when I click through the ad, it's going to the person's homepage. They've put in just their website. And for me, there's no path to those spring minis is the reason I clicked the website or clicked the ad in the first place. So instead, if you send your ad to that dedicated blog post, there's no way for someone to get confused or overwhelmed in that booking path because you're not asking them to search around your website. So once I have that blog post written, I can go back to these various marketing channels. And the goal isn't that you are going to need to use every marketing channel on planet Earth. I love the idea of picking 2 to 3 marketing channels and focusing on those. So hopefully this session date that you have is at least 5 weeks out so that it gives you wiggle room enough to talk about these sessions in the amount of time it'll take you to book them. So if you talk about your email list, how many times are you going to touch base with people? You obviously don't want to annoy them. It depends on your past communication with them. If you haven't talked to them at all, then you might not want to just suddenly start blasting them about your spring minis. But if you get into the habit of regularly emailing your email list like 2 or 3 times a season to let them know what you're up to, then you can just start incorporating that into the fold of your marketing strategy. Past clients, is it worth it to reach out to the people last year who booked and say, hey, my fall's looking really, really busy this year already because of kiddo sports, because I'm taking on less sessions, because of whatever? Or you might be interested in spring sessions. Here's a few reasons why they're great. You could have fall clients who've literally never considered spring. Going back to that search SEO, what elements of these sessions could you keyword that'll help you if they're at a specific location? Could you help people who are looking for information about that location also find out about your images or your sessions? In-person connection, who's someone in your town who could help collaborate? I just think this is so powerful and a way for you to get new eyes on your business. Or is there a way that between now and the sessions, is there an in-person networking, lunch, coffee date, something that you could even invite a few other people in your town and be like, hey, let's all chat about what each other is up to. It could literally be as simple as that. People love connecting with other people. And then going back to the ad idea, create an ad. The AI format for Facebook ads is called Advantage Plus. So if you're looking for more information, and eventually that is going to be part of the marketing course, but it's not in there now because, like I said, I'm very, very wary of ever giving any bad information or untested information. So I'm still in the throes of making sure that I feel confident in my own business, creating ads that are local, that actually convert. So once I have enough data that I feel comfortable with that, it'll be in the course. But for now, you have Google at your side to help you. Going back to Instagram, we have ways that you could talk about the sessions on Instagram. We already know all of those. You could create a reel, you could create a carousel that then is part of that blog post. Like if you write the blog post first, you can turn the blog post into a carousel or a reel. You could go live to talk about them. You could go live at the location. You could walk around and be like, in 5 months' time, these flowers are going to be exploding. You could go at golden hour. It could look really pretty. There's so many ways to get people interested. All that content could then be pinned on Pinterest. The tricky thing with Pinterest is we know it's a long form content strategy or a long time frame content strategy. So unless you're doing a ad on Pinterest which again, you could definitely play around with. All of these ads really don't need to cost you that much money, especially if you're just learning. But the good thing to know is that if you send it to a page on your website that's a URL that's dedicated to spring offerings, then no matter what year someone finds that Pinterest post, if it goes to that page that you're just continually updating. So just to back up to give an idea, let's say that you've broken up your website into seasons, which I think is a really, really helpful way to make sure that you have trustworthy pathways all over your site. But let's say that it was by season. So you had a winter, if you do snow minis, let's say you had a winter page, a spring page, summer page, and fall page, and those were just continually updated by you each year, then that URL is going to stay good on Pinterest forever, as long as you keep updating that page. So that way you're not having something potentially get a lot of attention on Pinterest and go to a page or a post or something that's a broken link that's no longer helpful. So there's so many ways that you can create a marketing plan for spring sessions. And I just wanted to kind of break it down for you so that you can see that it's not going to be talking about it once or twice on stories, or talking about it once and sending people directly to a Calendly link, because that is, unless you have a really, really high trust brand, you probably need a little bit more nurturing for someone to actually book. So if you have an information page where they can hang out, that's the goal. That's where we want to send people. Then you know in your brain, it can kind of help you categorize. Like no matter where you're talking about these spring sessions, you know where you want to send people. And it's not just like if someone reached out to inquire, you don't just have to be like, oh yeah, book here. They might be like, well, I kind of have more questions and I'd like to waste your time asking all of those questions to you. And that sounds kind of rude, but like I obviously don't mind if potential clients ask me questions about sessions, but I'd much rather, and what's much more comfortable for the average human is for them to get their questions answered without having to continually ask me individual questions. So I know this works because majority of my clients do not speak to me before they book, and they hang out on my information pages and then book from there. So that's a little bit of homework for you. This beginning of spring is where we are now. Now daylight savings is over. We have more light. People are going to be hanging out a lot more after work. So they're going to be interested more in activities and events. And what you're offering with spring minis or spring sessions is an activity for families to do in the spring. That's another way for you to think about the benefit of doing a session with you. It's something for people to do together with their family that's fun in spring. So you have a lot to offer. You just have to create a pathway that is a little more trust building than I see the ones currently going on when I'm reviewing everyone's information or their current marketing strategies. So as an update to me, the second round of the mastermind is fully booked. I'm not quite sure when I'm going to be opening up another one, because I'm teaching 2 classes, one through Milky Way and one through the Chrysalis education. So those 2, the one will be on, like I said, converting websites, and the other one will be on a rare type of class for me. We're actually talking about shooting and editing, and it'll be about turning ordinary locations into extraordinary locations. So I'm really excited for those, but they'll take up too much of my time to do another mastermind. So I'm going to create a wait list and I'll put it there. And I'm also going to create a helpful spring marketing document that I will link to in the show notes if you want a place to write down all of your ideas and start to create your own marketing plan. Okay, have a good week.